Hi, I'm Markus.
I'm Candi.
I'm Brian.
And this is our Fireside Chat. What's really interesting about the three of us is I'm a 30-year television veteran. So I've worked in television for 30 years. You guys are tech, and here we are getting married.
Yeah. Yes.
We're walking down the aisle.
In a very natural way.
It
feels natural, yeah.
What do you like about this, Mark? Like, I mean, here I am joining your party, which this is a train on the tracks going pretty fast, and I'm kind of jumping on and excited to be here. But like, what was the appeal for you to kind of connect with somebody like me, right?
That's great. I mean, I'd say we were heavy on analytics, heavy on e-commerce, trying to do content right, and I think doing it well. Mm-hmm. And in order for Knockin to succeed, we need to take it several steps up. So, without putting pressure on you, that's the world where you live in, right?
Welcome.
So and if we don't get content right, if we don't get connections with people right, does it really matter that we're great at e-commerce and tech and analytics, right? Not that much. So it's a cool thing to do, and to do for real.
Well, what's so interesting is I discovered Knockin in my professional career. So everything that you guys do, I benefited from. So as the executive producer, as you know, we worked together. And it was before even, like when I met you guys, I heard about you through Ricky, who's sitting right over there. I can always break the fourth wall. But I met you guys and I saw this dashboard, right? And it was like, okay, here's the deal. You need to make more money for your TV show, and we can actually do that for you. And the thing with a lot of television producers and a lot of television executives is we don't know how to do it. Like, we don't have the money. We don't have the bandwidth.
You have the time.
We don't have the time. Like, there's no time. Yeah. Like, I could barely breathe. I'm like approving scripts till 11 o'clock at night, and then I'm up at 6 a.m. going to the studio. So for you guys to come along and be like, hey, we're tech guys, right? We got this. So we've built sites for all these huge kind of e-commerce things that you're familiar with, right? Even The View. Yeah. I was the executive producer of The View, and you built the back end of the site, which I did not know.
Which we didn't know. And so a weird way we worked together a long time ago.
For years.
Right? And didn't even know it. And so I handled the e-commerce side of The View. Actually launched View Your Deal, and Candi was there, right?
And oversaw View Your Deal, so I understand how it works. And the benefit, for God's sakes. I mean, look, okay, so think about it. I was at Oprah for 15 years, from 1995 to 2011, right? During that time, there were a handful of cable networks, and everybody watched the main networks.
What a change, yeah.
So I remember we had like Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman, or some big like celebrity on during sweeps. We did like 14 million viewers in daytime.
And during that time, you guys had Oprah's Favorite Things, right?
That's right.
I was actually doing sites for people that had gotten chosen by Oprah's Favorite Things and would blow up, and several of them would crash. And like there was a time early on, a decade ago, that people thought, oh wow, we crashed, that's cool. I didn't think it was cool because you're losing so much sales and so many opportunities for customers to come to your site.
Right.
And
I actually, on the producer side, I remember brands, their whole websites would crash.
Would go down, and they're losing the money. So I then, while you were going through that journey, I was doing these microsites for Good Morning America and actually handling stuff and not crashing.
Right.
We never crashed because we were on a platform that handled it. 3,000 transactions per minute. Right?
Oh my God.
So
but back then, what must have been exciting is that people responded to it in the first place, right? So you show something in front of 4 million people, and 1 million go to your website, you're saying this actually works.
Right.
It didn't matter as much that there was an impact down the road, repurchase and people buying and actually experiencing it. So they thought it was great when it crashed, because it meant people liked it.
But now, so, okay, that's...
Can't crash today.
That's all of our worlds, like 15 years ago. Now fast forward, right? So I'm a media person and I need money, right? Like there's so much content. The audiences are so dispersed all over the content that now it's like the ratings play doesn't work anymore. And I know for certain, because that was my job, that a lot of these organizations and shows are surviving off of integration dollars and e-commerce dollars, right? And ad sales also. I mean, that's still a very strong force. And this doesn't compete, which is great, right? Because I remember speaking to my ad sales team and they're like, hey, and it's like, listen, it's coming out of Showtime. You know, these e-commerce segments are actually coming out of my Showtime, which is fine. If I can take 30 or 90 seconds and make several $1 million a year, sign me up. I'm in.
But the way for you to do it today is quite complicated, right? So you have to work with lots of different outside parties to sort of put together a program that allows you to plug in e-commerce in some kind of fashion.
If I had to do it,
If
yes.
you had to do it, like, if
There's
you're the
no way.
Or others
I don't
doing
even
it
know where to
today.
go for that, right?
If you have the energy to do it, you do it that way.
It's
We deal with
fragmented, right? It's
fragmented parties, yeah. So, and that was the challenge. Interestingly, like when we started this in the early days, we thought we can be a service provider that does the key things. And we found out 2 years in that on top of the e-commerce, on top of analytics, we have to understand the regulatory environment. We have to be the ones that shield the media company from compliance risk. When we send a text message, you as a media company don't want to have to deal with all the cleanup and the PPI information. You know, we have to deal with sales taxes now in 50
every
different states.
state.
All right, so let me put that in layman's terms for you, okay? So first of all, when I was at The View, we had View Your Deal. Every Monday, I was logging on from the control room, buying stuff.
Yeah.
I have so much stuff in my house because people, look, I don't mind being sold on TV. Like, I will buy. I've got my gardening shoes. I have like the corduroy bean bag that turns into like a mattress. But here's my point. I'm not talking about any particular site, but I've been to other e-commerce sites where you go on, you buy 3 different things and you have to check out, then you got to come back.
Yeah.
Then you got to check out again. Then you got to come back. And that is not the situation at Knocking. Whatever you buy, if there's 6
Yeah.
products and you buy all 6 of them, 1 checkout.
Well, we made it
Game changer.
one place to shop, right? One marketplace versus individual promotion sites, if you will, or flash sites. We tied all of that in together into just one place where you can get multiple things and not just some for short periods of time, but
Yeah.
stuff all year long.
Well,
every day.
yeah.
But here's the other piece. Here's the other piece. I used to forget about the sale. So I would watch something on TV and be like, oh my God, I want that. And I'd open the cart and then go away from it. Come back 2 days later, the site's gone.
Yeah. It's just-
Right? And that's not what Knocking does. If I see something on Monday, I can get it next Monday.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right?
I guess initially you think it's about selling stuff. And so when you think that way, you say, let's put a lot of stuff in front of people. If they buy it, that's good. But then you take the next step where really Brian lived a lot, is saying, hey, what's the gold standard for customer experience when it comes to buying stuff, right? So Brian would talk a lot about Amazon. You buy stuff from Amazon, you don't like it, you send it back, headache free, you call them, someone picks up the phone. You can speak to people, by the way, it doesn't come from China, right? And so you look at this and say, what's the experience people want if you sold them, right? If you
Right.
show them something that they really want to do and go for, how do you then make it really easy and really great and not let them down? 'Cause If
Right.
you let them down, they're not coming back. So our model really has shifted, I would say, quite heavily from the early years would have been called flash sale. You put something up for 24 hours.
And then it goes away.
And we're saying, can we be a baby Amazon for a media partner? Say, we plug ourselves around the media partner, like a baby Amazon.
Right. And it's your own little shopping site.
And we feel that way, and we act that way, and we're accountable that way, right? So,
And beyond that, we actually have where somebody like you, Candi, can instantly see what's going on. So when
Oh my God, that
when you
dashboard
run
is
something,
ridiculous. It's
you run a
ridiculous.
brand, whether it's tech, beauty, fashion, you name it, you run it, you see instantaneously how it's doing. You could measure your serving up the content to those viewers, right, and consumers instantaneously,
Yeah.
right? And that's something we call
Well,
knocking mission.
Well, hold on. Well,
Yeah.
let's just say what that is. So, y'all created this mission control, has a map of the United States, and then it has these little, and you can customize it whatever you want, right? So your sale goes out on the air, whatever, if it's a talk show or whatever. The minute people start buying, this little mission control starts lighting up. I mean, you see all over the country in real time where people are buying. You see the numbers start coming. It's unbelievable.
so
It's like a video game.
it's easy here to say, Brian and I did that. I mean, we have a fantastic team.
Oh, that's right.
Fantastic
Yeah.
tech team.
All over the world.
Our partners, CTO in Germany, we got folks in Argentina and Canada and the US. But
Yeah.
to even go a step behind it, that's sort of what we did this year very heavily. So we have Nielsen as a ratings and viewership assessment tool that is really powerful but has shortcomings.
Yeah.
And one of the shortcomings is that Nielsen can tell you with a high degree of accuracy how many TV sets are turned on to a particular station. But they don't know if the woman watching is, somewhere cleaning and working with the kids, if the guy's asleep on the couch or awake.
You're seeing
So,
engagement.
you're right. So we look at this and we say, if you're in front of 1,000 people, we can tell you how many are awake because we have so much data across millions of transactions that we know If
It's amazing.
1,200 show up on the website, you probably had X people actually watching and paying attention. And then you see their actions from the point of actually watching it down to the store and what they buy.
And the time in the hour, right?
Yeah.
So you can say in the first quarter hour, you know.
And a key
Yeah.
part is, we're watermarking our content. So we're working with Nielsen essentially saying we're watermarking our content.
Yeah, we added that, right? So that every time these segments that we produce
Right.
go on, we can instantly measure the time and every
Right
one
away.
level beyond Nielsen, working with the Nielsen to
Yeah.
actually show
What
that there's a
product aired.
transaction. Like you
That's
said,
right.
someone wasn't just there walking around. They were engaged.
Yeah.
They were engaged so much that they came and then they purchased something, which then you can look at that and you can use that in amazing ways, right? The storytelling level that you have in your career and stuff like is so amazing. It's exciting for us
Yeah.
to see that then mold in where this is all going, because e-commerce and commerce coming into media is far more incredible than even where Amazon is, because Amazon, while it's the biggest in the world for like e-commerce today, media and trusted people doing it at this level is going to go to places
I
that
would say-
I can only imagine.
I'm excited. I mean, I know I have so many ideas on how,
Yeah.
first of all, people do not mind being sold. I'm the first person to tell you that if I'm watching content and I have an opportunity to buy something, I will likely buy it. If I like it, if I like the star.
If you have a reason to,
Right?
yeah.
If it's a scripted show and I love the celebrity, I want that.
Well, we're all
right?
consumers. Like the three of us buy. Everyone buys. Everyone
But
you
even
know.
my scripted producer friends are like, it's great, love the idea,
Yeah.
don't know how to do it.
Don't
So
know how to
like
do it.
the idea that like Knocking is one-stop
Yeah.
shopping. Literally, I am the media partner who came to Knocking and all I had to do was bring my creative ideas and we started making money. That's how it
Good to go.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the machine
To
is built.
simplify it, right?
You build a rocket ship. At some point, you pour the right fuel into it and you go. But you have to choose where you take it. And the sort of machine is done. The question is, where do you take that machine?
Right.
Who do you give that machine to? And you have this media landscape full of scripted, unscripted shows, news, entertainment. And you go to them and say, look, this machine is done. Do you want to use it? Because it's very easy. But the way you integrate it, it has to lead with content.
But like
That's
Candi,
right.
like Candi said, she does want to be sold. But there's the thing that I love about the world that you've lived in, the way you guys tell stories is engaging, right? You think of e-commerce from like Pizza Hut to the first CD that was sold in New Hampshire. We talked about this, right?
hometown,
Like
Merrimack,
this
New
is
Hampshire,
1994.
shout out.
1994. Here we are today, and e-commerce so far has been told in a way, right, that brands tell it, and there's been some cool and creative ways. Now that media and storytellers,
Oh,
and just
yeah.
storytelling,
Storytellers.
telling it your way,
Yeah.
is going to feel so different, right? And I think that's a welcoming thing. And if you're a media company, you should be looking at this. You don't want to be left behind.
No.
Because
no.
this is
I agree.
during the pandemic,
awesome.
150 million people have come online to shop,
Yeah.
and they're not leaving.
Yeah.
No.
So you want to
Do
reach
you,
that.
you remember, like we sold products for brands that really have beautiful stories behind them, and you may only see the shirts and the clothing line without disclosing who it may. But if this clothing company has this beautiful logo of an animal, but they choose this animal because they support that animal, and so they spend a lot of money supporting wildlife, and they have this beautiful clothing line. Well, you would look at it as clothing, but many people, if they knew the story, would say, "Wait, I'm actually supporting something that goes deeper."
Hello,
than buying
Shark
stuff.
Tank.
Shark Tank,
Yeah.
exactly.
Shark
yes.
Tank that's it. People love
Exactly.
a great story and they love
Yeah.
to get behind the brands, but I'm thrilled. I think,
So-
sky's the limit.
so
We're
yeah.
going to do our little fireside chats, right? Like on and off so that we can
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
kind of where we are and what we're doing and, you know.
Yeah, and
Great.
before we go, Candi,
Yeah.
just leave us with one thing, because a lot of people are going to probably ask a lot of us this question.
Okay.
Why Knocking?
You know why Knocking? I mean, I don't want to be crude, but
It's not the two of us. That's it.
Yeah.
it's not y'all. No, just kidding. No, you know what it is? Honestly, you don't have to do a lot to make money. Like, I'm not even kidding. I've walked the walk. You come in, you have a hardcore creative collaboration, right? So that you can integrate the e-commerce in a way that works for your brand. And that's what we did. We built the look, the graphics, the feel, the script, everything. I've got producers who've worked in every aspect of media. I've been in media for 30 years. So I can talk to a producer and be like, all right, here's how we should do the segment. What do we want to do? Yada, yada, yada. We talk the same language. That's why I like this marriage, because I can go to my friends who are running different shows and be like, all right, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
You know? And so that's why knocking.
Yeah.
Well, one, because you have your media people, right? But two, because once you do that creative collaboration, y'all do everything else. And that's
Love
the
it.
piece that we
Yeah.
Love
couldn't
it.
figure out. And
Love it.
every media person I talked to was like, yeah, we kind of really want to get in there. We ain't cracked that nut yet, you know?
Yeah. There's also a side to this, as we all know in television, right? And you told me that how many million people in the beginning, how many million people now. So
Right.
as audiences are shifting around to things like streaming, and you can get your content anywhere over time.
And you can get e-commerce anywhere.
Yes, but how about the fact that you actually are capturing a consumer for a media partner that actually can make money off there for them too?
All right, so there's that. But that's another video. We got to go.
To be revisited.
We will be here all night.
Yeah.
Nobody never knows.